Welcome everybody from Sparx Systems YouTube channel. It's great to have you here today. Once again, we're looking at our urban parking system repository that's been designed and developed in Enterprise Architect. We're continuing to look at ArchiMate as part of our overview of Enterprise Architect, and we're looking at a number of different viewpoints in the videos we've done over the past couple of days. Today, we're going to look at the layered viewpoint. So welcome, Stephen. How are you today?
Very well, thank you, Scott.
What can you tell us about the layered viewpoint in Enterprise Architect and ArchiMate?
Yeah, thank you for the introduction, Scott, and always a pleasure to be here. This is a very large viewpoint in many ways, because what we're doing is we're creating a number of layers that show the, the extent or the depth, the vertical depth of an enterprise architecture, right from up at the actor's point of view right down to the technology level or layer. So the layered viewpoint pictures several layers and aspects of the enterprise architecture in one diagram. And there are two categories of layers, namely the dedicated layers and the service layers. And we'll see how this pans out as we look at the viewpoint. And we're going to be using the grouping element, which we haven't used much before. So let's dive into this, Scott. As always, I like to set my perspective, and I have been doing some wireframe work earlier today. I'm going to drop that down and pick the enterprise architecture perspective set, and I'm going to choose ArchiMate as the perspective. Select that one. Enterprise Architect changes its focus to be all about ArchiMate. And you can see here there are a number of patterns that have come up, and we've got basic viewpoints here, and we've got the layered viewpoint, and I could look at that in the pattern reference material there, layered viewpoint, and you can see the kind of diagram and the reason why I said it was
comprehensive. Yeah,
it's going, right from the top here right down to bottom. You can tell from the color, Scott, that the yellow ones are the things that are in the business layer, and the green are in the technology layer. So it's spanning the entire compass of the layers in enterprise in ArchiMate. So let's make a start. As always, I don't want to use the pattern. Great productivity gain for those people that are watching the video, and I encourage you to use that and get the benefit from it. Simply click on the create model, and it will inject that pattern and that model into your own repository. But I'm going to close that and do things from first principles. We're going to look for a location for this in our repository, and it could go anywhere, Scott, because it literally covers all of these different layers. Let's put it into the business one for the moment, and we'll put a new package in here and call it the layered viewpoint. And we go OK to create that package in the browser, and I can put some notes in that, which I've got in my clipboard, and I can paste those in. And you can see these have come from the ArchiMate specification itself, and it talks about the layered viewpoint. Encourage you to put in notes because it helps other people when they're looking at the models. Let's create a diagram now and get started. So with that layered viewpoint selected in the browser, I go to the toolbar of the browser window, and I click on the new package icon. And on my mistake, I want to create a diagram there, Scott. So I've already created that viewpoint. I'm going to create the diagram there, so the new diagram icon there, and we're going to create this layered viewpoint. Let's have a look and see if we can find it there, and we can look for it there, or we could have used the search facility there as well. But there it is, the basic layered viewpoint. We'll go create diagram there, and you can see how we have a large number of elements that are available. I'm just scrolling down through the toolbox pages. Enterprise Architect has brought up the elements that are relevant for this viewpoint. So we've got business actors and business processes and things right down to through the application level and down here to.
And I think it's useful seeing that up the top you've got all the yellow ones, and down the bottom you've got the aqua and green ones. So the colors help separate the different layers as well.
Exactly. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use the grouping element, which is under this toolbox page called Other Concepts. So we've got junction, we've used that before, location we've used, and also the specialization. Let's use the grouping element here, and you can see it's kind of like a folder sort of structure, but it's got this dashed border. So make it a little bit bigger because we're going to put things in it. So I'll make it probably about that size, and I'll give it a name. And you can see that name is going to go up into that corner there. Now, when we talked about this particular viewpoint, we talked about there being, these intervening services. So what I'm going to do now is put another grouping on, and this one I'm going to call business services. And I'm going to use EA's functionality, alignment functionality. I'm going to multi-select these two elements, and I'm going to go to the layout ribbon and the alignment panel and ask the tool to create these to be exactly the same height and width. And the one with the stippled border there, the actors and roles, is going to act as the template, and we'll get them the same. I can also then left align them, and you can see how easy that is to do. Gives you that productivity of getting started with the diagram. We've got a number of other layers to put in, Scott, but let's just concentrate on these ones for a moment.
Yep.
So I already have some, some elements in the already in the repository with respect to, actors and roles and things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for those particular elements, and the one that I'm going to look for, I know that I want an actor that's called a parking administrator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the start ribbon here and the search of the explore panel and the search item, and then this model item here, and that will allow me to search. So I'm going to look for parking administrator. I know that there's one of those, and I know that's one of the ones that I want. So there it is there, Scott, and let's have a look and see which one of these that I want. So we've got a parking administrator there, and let's have a look at this one. We'll find in all diagrams, and that's the one that I'm looking for. We can see a parking administrator, and it performs the role of a parking operator. So let's just lasso these guys, Scott. I'm just going to lasso them. I'll do that again, just a simple click and drag the lasso over the top of them, then I release the mouse. So with that done, I'm going to hit the Control-C key to copy those elements, and I'm going to put it into my layered viewpoint. And I want them inside this one here. So I'm just going to hit Control-V on my keyboard, and you can see those elements have gone in. With them all selected, Scott, I'm going to resize them. I'm holding the Control key down and using the up arrow, and I'm just resizing them like that. And I want to bring these guys a little bit closer to each other. So easy to, very easy to do that. Again, I might make these slightly bigger there, giving it just a little bit more visual appeal. So with those done, I can now go and look for elements that are connected in the business services layer. And as you build up your architecture, this will become a theme that happens more and more. Rather than creating elements from scratch, as you create your new viewpoints, you're typically going to be using elements that already exist in the repository. So what I'm going to do is use a tool feature that is incredibly powerful, and that is the insert related elements. Now I'm going to right mouse click on this one here, and I'm going to say, when one of them is selected by itself, insert related elements. That's popped up on another screen. I'm going to drag that in from the other monitor, and you can see here that this is telling us that we have elements that are related to this parking operator. And we've only gone down one level there, Scott. If I was to go down a couple of levels, you'll see, that we have got lots and lots of connections between things. But we only need to go down one level, and I've got here the parking administrator. So that's the connection that you can see there back to the parking administrator. That was the actor that's performing this role. But we also have this parking space allocation there. Now, I'm going to click on that one, and I'm going to turn off this layout diagram when complete, because I've got the diagram organized the way that I want it to be. So I'm going to turn that off, and but I want to inject this parking space allocation, which is in the repository, but not in this diagram. So if I go OK to that, you have a look what happened then. Let's just do that again. Might not have clicked on the right element there. It's not in the repository, and check that that is not there. Let's move that over, and I'll go OK to that. There it is there. I don't think I clicked on it. Yeah, I don't think I clicked on it the first time. So what I'm going to do is move that one into the business service there. And you can see now that the relationships that already exist in the repository have come in to this diagram and are visible.
So that's doing a lot of the work for you, isn't it? Because it's taking care of the relationships, and
absolutely.
You don't have to figure out how many services are actually associated. You can just insert the related elements and it will tell you exactly how many services are connected.
Yeah, exactly right, Scott. So, I can keep going with that method. I can right mouse click on here and say insert related elements and try and find the things that I'm interested in. And what I am interested in, is this business process one here, this reserved parking space. So again, you can see over here, which was useful, and I think I clicked, when I did it a bit earlier, I clicked on the wrong thing, but you can see that it's telling us that two of the elements that are listed are actually in the repository, and one of them isn't, this business process. So that's the one that I want to get in. So if I click on that, and again, don't lay out the diagram when complete, because I'm doing that myself, but that's a very powerful feature. If you haven't got the diagram laid out, you can press that and EA will do lots of work to tidy up the diagram and make it look presentable. So I'm going to click on that, and you can see now that that's happened. Now I want this in a different layer, and we haven't put that layer in yet, Scott, but that's going to go into a business process layer. So I'm going to get you to perform some of your time travel magic, and we will come back in a couple of seconds when I've finished the diagram.
Welcome back, everybody. I've done a little bit of time travel and editing magic, and we now have our layered viewpoint, which looks very, very comprehensive on screen. So perhaps you can use your pan and zoom window and tell us a little bit about the layered viewpoint.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. Glad to be back here. You can see that we have done quite a lot of work now, and we've put in the various layers or groupings here. So they are related to the layers because we can see here that we've got this actors and roles. We've got business services, business processes, and then we go down, we leave the business world, we go into application services, application components. We've got technology services and technology elements here, such as the node. And what you can see, Scott, is that what I've done in the diagram is that I've got the layers organized vertically, and what I've done is I've turned off the ability to select them. So this is a feature that's very useful. You right mouse click on an element here, you can go to the behavior item there, and you can say whether you want it to be selectable or not. And that's turned the layers off. That allows me, or that's turned these grouping boxes off, which are equivalent to the layers, and that allows me to move elements around. So now I can, quite freely multi-select these elements and move them around without doing anything to the layers. So getting them organized, a little bit like when you're working in business process model and notation or other languages that have swim lanes, it's much more convenient to actually turn those off and be able to freely move the elements around. But it's a very useful viewpoint, Scott. And remember, it's spanning, from high level down through different layers. And you can see here, as we go from the business processes, we go to application services and then to application components. So the services are serving the other layer, and then we have the realization relationships between the actual component elements and the services. And the same pattern exists here between the technology services and then the technology components or technology elements that realize those. So we have serving relationship and then the realization relationship. So a very useful viewpoint, Scott, but remember, this is, drumming home this idea that we created this really without creating any new elements. We use the elements from the other, various viewpoints that we created, and we've created this viewpoint that's going right through all of these different layers.
Yep. And if you've done the work in the other areas, that a lot of this diagram takes care of itself.
Exactly, Scott. You can just reuse the elements, and that's a very important take-home message when you're doing any viewpoint. Remember, the viewpoint is a view for a stakeholder from a particular position, and you need to think about the kind of stakeholders that you have in mind and then create the viewpoint. But reusing elements is going to give you a lot of productivity gain. You don't want to be putting multiple elements in that are representing the same thing.
No, that's fantastic, and it's great to see such a comprehensive overview in a single diagram. To our audience, I'd like to thank you for watching. As always, if you've enjoyed this video, we'd really appreciate if you could like, comment, and subscribe to the Sparx Systems YouTube channel. If you have any questions about the layered viewpoint or ArchiMate in general, you can reach out to Stephen using the credentials listed in the video description below. The LinkedIn details and the website details are available for you. As always, thanks, Stephen, for showing us this viewpoint. It's great to see all the different layers and how they connect, and how we've really built on a lot of the work that has been done in other viewpoints in ArchiMate, and seeing it all come together in a single diagram is quite powerful.
Always a pleasure, Scott.